everybody. It's the Unsmooth Criminal, and I'm sorry. I've been gone for a while. I'm sorry. I've recorded the last few days, but I haven't felt good about any of them. It's like a craftsman doing his craft. If he doesn't feel like he did his craft well, he's going to scrap it and start over. Because they always put their heart and soul into items. I don't actually put hearts and souls into my videos, unlike the Daedric Princes. I'm going to be referencing something. If you guys can pick up on the references, I will be trying to sort something out so I can play something on stream. And if you guys can find all the references and put it together of what I'm going to be playing, I'm trying to get a Twitch account so you guys can watch me and interact with me while I'm just zoning out on the game. And I want to play games for you because people are just like, oh, he's playing a game, we can mess with him. Yeah. So you guys could mess with me and tell me to do stuff in this game. And if you guys can identify what game it is, and tell me in the answer column of my Discord, and I'll tell my admins immediately. They can't get any points, sadly. They don't get points. But I will tell them immediately so they'll know. Well, one already does, but that's for later. But this one, if you could see the picture, and you could see the identifying feature of this picture, you could see that she has fangs. And I've tried a vampire what if. I've tried a cat vampire what if. I haven't liked any of them very much. I liked how I started, and then all of a sudden I was going to back myself into a corner again, like I did for the charged Aether what if. So this one is, what if Femdeku was a vampire? And she's just not any kind of vampire. She is the end-all, be-all, I'm the king/queen of vampires. And I say that with her abilities in mind. So if you think of Shaltir Bloodfallen from Overlord, you think of the Harkon vampires from Skyrim, you think of Twilight vampires. Ugh. I don't freaking like Twilight. They have good abilities, though. I'm just saying that. They have good abilities, but I don't like them. Castlevania vampires. And more. Just any kind of vampire. If you can tell me another series with vampires in it that would be a good fit for the My Hero world, please do so. I'm willing to look it up and see about the vampires. Now, I'm mainly going to be having her use Shaltir Bloodfallen's abilities, where she hits somebody, she can absorb blood through her hands. And the only way she can get nourishment is if she drinks the blood. That's a very important key detail, because she can regenerate if she absorbs blood through her hands, yes, giving her stamina, and her body is fully healed, but she does not feel full after absorbing it through her hands. She must drink it. It gives her the same effect if she drinks it as if she absorbs it through her hands. And it also regenerates her mental stamina too if she drinks it. So it through her hands regenerates her physical stamina and her body's condition, not her mental stamina. So Hopefully that's clear. And let's get into this. We start off with Nezu in his office. He just turned on the TV. Breaking news. The number one villain has escaped from prison. She's on the loose, and no one can find her. Nezu has a panic button underneath his desk, and he slams that as hard as possible and as fast as possible once he heard the number one villain's on the loose. Because he knows Night Eye doesn't watch the news, All Might doesn't watch the news. He listens for people in trouble. Eraserhead sleeps through the news. His wife watches the news. So she probably hasn't seen it yet, though. Because Nezu always has the news open 24/7 and just turns it off during a meeting. And then once the meeting's over, he turns it back on. So he just turned it back on, and he saw this message. And he pressed the panic button to call all the heroes to his office, or all the UA teachers to his office as fast as possible. But then the news says the number one villain didn't kill on her escape. And then he tilts his head. Like, what? If anybody can identify where I'm going with this. So, UA is going to be a college in this one. And it accepts people up to the age of 24. For 3 years, Aizawa's on the third year with Class 1A. So that's important too. It's the last year with Class 1A. So Nezu keeps listening, and it says that all she did was she poked their arm after knocking them out and had a little bit of a feast. Nobody died. The wounds were all bandaged up, and all the newscasters, every single one, there's like 5 on his TV screen currently, are saying the same thing. This is strange. So Eraserhead runs in, because he was currently teaching. Midnight runs in and sees her husband. Mike runs in. All Might runs in. All the teachers run in. And they're like, what's going on? You hit the panic button. You never hit the panic button. And he goes, the number one villain is escaped. And I don't think the number one villain wants to be the number one villain by choice. And they go, what? And he goes, yeah. Listen to this. And he backs it up just a little bit because he has a DVR on his TV, so he can back up just a tiny bit. And he plays back the number one villain did not kill. Like, yeah, that's her MO. She never kills. And he goes, yeah. I think we just labeled her a villain because she attacked random people but never killed them. And they go, yeah, that's what villains do. And he asks, okay, give me every single report of someone being attacked. So they do. It takes a few days, but they do. And Nezu sees that nothing was stolen. Elderly woman attacked. After attacked, she felt better than she has ever had. Child that was sick was attacked. Felt better after the attack. Nothing was taken. Man with broken arm, broken leg, and broken back, stuck forever in a wheelchair, apparently was attacked, and he now feels better than he ever has, and he can walk again. And all of his bones are fixed, like they were just made. And they all look at this, and Nezu goes, that is not the MO of a villain. They go, they were all attacked though. And he goes, yeah, they're all attacked. But villains don't heal the people they attacked. And they all start looking at each other and go, yeah, that's right. But she's still a villain. And he goes, yes, I understand that. How old is she? And they go, she's the same age as our third years. And he goes, okay, let's have her in the third year class for 3 years. And they go, what? And he goes, yes, if you guys can find the number one villain, and you know her MO and who she attacks, you can find out where she's going to be, unlike the police, who don't really look at the evidence. They just want to shoot on sight now. And All Might grits his teeth thinking of his friend now Masa, who's still a good cop. All Might has already given All for One, not All for One, One for All to Bakugo. Bakugo's a lot tamer in this one because he had a childhood friend that he had a crush on that gave him a outlet to vent his anger, and he's figured out ways to vent his anger except for beating up his friends. So he's a lot calmer in this one, but he still calls people shitty hairs and extras, but not as violently as Canon. So Aizawa walks back to class and says, okay, everybody, we're going to have a new student soon. Now, everybody go back to the dorms, and when you are there, prepare a room. Put a coffin in there if you want, because we have a vampire coming. And they'll go, what? And he goes, yeah. The number one villain has escaped, and we've talked it over with Nezu. And this is the first time he's heard of her MO. And he wants to give her villain rehab. And they'll go, wow, what is villain rehab? And he goes, a chance for a villain, vigilante, or someone who's committed felons to rehabilitate to normal society and become a hero. A very restricted hero, but a hero nonetheless. And they all look at him like he's crazy. And Bakugo, he's holding back tears, because he knows exactly who the number one villain is. And everybody normally would hear Bakugo yelling, like, another extra to come into class. Because he's still arrogant, very fight-prone, and eccentric about him being the best. But he's silent. He's dead silent. And everybody hears this, and Aizawa notices this. And he goes, okay, everybody except Bakugo, leave now. And everybody's like, yes, sir. And they all leave. And he walks up to Bakugo and says, so is this the person? And Bakugo says, yeah. And he goes, okay, well. I'll tell you when we find her. And he says, thank you. And he goes back to his room, locks the door, and his room is soundproof now. Because he would have fits of so much rage from something happening that he's been holding back. Because he doesn't want to seem like the villain anymore, because he was called out for being a villain from his crush. So he doesn't want to be looked at like a villain anymore. So he asked for soundproofing in his room and a way to vent his anger in his room so no one can hear it. And Aizawa says that I could also help you with venting your anger, or just tell me when, and I will help you with a sparring match in Training Ground Beta. Every time they have a sparring match, the entire training ground is kind of destroyed. But let's get back into the story. We go to a lady walking down the street. She has a hood on. Her crimson red hair is currently flapping in the wind. And she's nervous. She's not sweating bullets, but she's sweating profusely. Her eyes are glowing red because she's hungry. And she sees a elderly woman get dragged into an alley by a man. And this man looks physical, like he's about to destroy her or break her in half. And he's dragging her. And there's no heroes in sight. So, in a split instant, yes, she's this fast, she disappears and reappears in front of him. And kicks him without control. And he was kicked without control because she has no control over her strength when she's hungry. So he slams into a wall, cracking the wall, cracking his ribs. He spits out a little bit of blood because one of his ribs punctured his stomach, not his lung, his stomach. And this elderly woman is beaten half to death already. So she walks up to her and she pokes her neck and her arm where most of the damage is. And she brings all the blood out from those spots, cleans the blood somehow. No one knows how, but it looks magical. It looks like she's making something. And after a while, she starts smiling because she loves helping people. So she pulls her hood off so the old lady could see who's helping her. And the old lady has never heard of her before. And yes, I'm going to be referencing Overlord by the last name and the villain name, Bloodfallen. Her name is Izumi Bloodfallen. And she's healing the old lady. The old lady's youth comes back. She doesn't look anywhere close to her age. This old lady is 76. And she now looks 50. And she feels 20. So this old lady gets up and is like, "Who are you?" And Izumi's like, "I'm not going to tell her my true name. I'm going to tell her my villain name because apparently everybody knows me as that." And she says, "I'm Bloodfallen. I just like helping people." And she disappears. And that orb of red, it was a orb of blood, disappears with her because she grabbed it and ran off. And when she gets to a back alley where nobody's around, she takes the jacket off and you can see this gorgeous figure. You can see it in the picture. And she starts drinking. She has gloves on her hands at all times. Because if any blood gets on her hands, she starts feeling hungry. But if it gets on her gloves, she can pull it off her gloves with her slight telekinesis to pull the blood off the gloves. Or blood off of places or out of places. And she starts drinking. And this is where the good part is. She starts drinking, and you hear these erotic moans from this back alley. And this is late at night. So she sees perfectly fine because she has night vision. But Aizawa has trouble seeing. So he's bouncing over the alleys looking for people who are in trouble because he doesn't care who he saves. He just wants to save people. He's he's the definition of a true hero. And if you guys can completely define that, I'll give you 5,000 points, but it must be the exact definition I'm looking for. I'll give you 5,000 points on the answer column. And if you answer it in the answer column and at me, I'll read it. And if it's not the exact definition I want, or anywhere close to it, it's got to be within a few words. Sorry. But if it's not anywhere close to it, I will not accept it. I'll just say no. The first person to give me the exact definition I'm looking for, or within a few words, I'll give 5,000 points. And every person after that will get 500. Because apparently the ship ticket's too expensive, so I got to give people that extra incentive. But, what should I... Where was I? Okay, so these erotic moans are coming out of this area. And Aizawa was bouncing off over houses. And he's a lot stronger in this one, yes. He's a lot stronger. So he's bouncing over houses, over alleys, just doing his rounds. And he hears these moans. And he's like, what the hell is that? And then he thinks of his wife. And then he's like, oh God. So he runs over to where the moans are coming from, and he sees a girl with crimson hair, and she's drinking something. And he asks, is everything okay? And she goes, yeah. And him not hearing that voice before asks, may I get your name? And she goes, no, I'd like to be left alone. And he goes, I'm a hero. I'm Eraserhead. And he only pulls this when he is curious about who someone is. And she was like, oh crap, it's a hero. Crap. They're going to take me back. I don't want to go back. And she goes, oh, I'm just passing through. My quirk activated, so I had to stop and hide for a few seconds. I can't control my quirk very well. And he goes, well, what is your quirk? I may be able to help. I have the ability to erase quirks. She goes, my quirk's a mutation. You can't erase it. And he goes, sorry, I may actually have someone who can help you stop it if it's a mutation that no one wants to see. He's a great friend. He's at UA. I can take you there. And her hearing her being able to go to UA says sure. She throws the hood on, and he sees that she threw the hood on as in lightning speed. And he goes, okay then. So they get to UA, and he goes, okay, before we can enter UA, I must know your name. At least your first name. I don't need to know your last. And she goes, Izumi. And he knows exactly who it is now, because Bakugo has told him the name of the person he has a crush on. Izumi Bloodfallen. And he's looked in the records of the entire city, and there's only ever one Izumi born. And that was Izumi Bloodfallen. And he goes, ooh, that's a strange name to have. She goes, yeah. My mom was thinking of Izuku, but then I was born a female. That happened, and he goes, oh, okay. Makes sense. And they walk in. And all of a sudden, her fangs retract. And she feels this, and she doesn't know how they retracted, but they retracted. And she's never been able to have that happen. And so she starts grinning, because she knows that she can grin without people seeing her fangs. Even though her canines are still a little longer than normal. So she starts happily being giddy and happy because she can smile without people being scared of her. And the entire time, Aizawa is behind her, and he's seeing the change in her movements, and he's like, okay, so it is who I think it is. And he's had his quirk active this entire time. So he deactivates his quirk, and he asks, are you willing to join the villain rehabilitation program? Out of the blue. And her eyes widen, going, no, they're going to take me back. And then she goes, wait, what? And he goes, yes. Nezu, our principal, and Nezu walks out from behind the corner. I've been summoned. And he's like, oh, God damn it. He wants you to join the villain rehabilitation program. You would have to be in the hero course for 3 years, but you'd have to be in the 3rd year hero course because there's nowhere even close to your strength in the normal 1st year hero course. And she hears this and goes, are you going to send me back if I don't accept? And he goes, sadly, legally, yes, I have to. But since I have talked to someone that you've known, I know that you won't decline this offer. And she goes, what? And Nezu pulls out a paper and says, here you go. So she takes the paper and starts signing it immediately. And Nezu's like, oh, so he was right. And she goes, okay, who are you talking about? And they go, Bakugo Katsuki. And she goes, Kacchan! Yes! And she disappears. And the papers flutter to the ground, and they're all signed. They have all of her information. And they also have a 5-page essay attached to it. Because there was a little section that said, why did you become a villain? And it was a 5-page essay on how she didn't want to be a villain. She wanted to be a hero. But ever since her mother said that she was a monster and no one would want her to be the villain that saves them, that she would have to be a villain to be a hero. And they read this to completion. They read her entire life story in a 5-page essay that was written in an instant. Her handwriting is smooth cursive, and I know it's Japanese characters. I'm not going to be writing in that. No. It's perfect smooth cursive. This is American writing. And it's beautiful grammar. And they don't know how this happened until it got to the point where she talked about her experiences in the prison. All she got was 1 book. A year. She was in there for 3 years. She got 1 book a year. And she had infinite paper. She had no qualms about being in prison. But one day, one of the guards that was sick came into her cell and she offered to heal him. And he liked her. And one of the guards who was watching them saw that she poked him in the arm and was stealing his blood. And he was just standing there. So he thought that she used her quirk on him, and he called a red alarm. So she went into solitary confinement. She couldn't have anything whatsoever. After she was done healing the guy, all the guards rush in, and he was healed, but he fell to the ground, so all the guards thought that she killed him. A month later, he gets back to work, and he's better than the rest of the guards. His health is perfect. And she says this in the essay. And Nezu's like, this is not a villain. Why is everybody calling her a villain? And Aizawa goes, because she attacks people without their consent. And he goes, yeah, but they're left better off than when they are attacked. And this old elderly lady walks up to the police station and says, I'd like to find a girl with crimson red hair. And they get the description, and the police station is in a tizzy now, because they have the exact description of the number one villain. Because no matter how many heroes attack her, they're left in the dirt, knocked out. Even All Might was left in the dirt. But All Might was left off better than he could have imagined. Because he had his wound healed. So, All Might doesn't have the wound because of her. So he can dedicate himself to healing, or not healing, to training and the next generation. She's beaten up villains, she's beaten up heroes, she's attacked civilians. Her entire MO is just attack everybody, apparently, from what the police station says. So they're all in a tizzy being like, where did she go? What did you see her do last? And the elderly lady's like, she healed me and then disappeared. And they're like, crap. So they bring the elderly lady without thinking of her health. Good thing that she has physical stamina of a 20-year-old and the physical strength of a 20-year-old. So she survived the intense interrogation to find out everything of what happened. And the elderly lady, being an ex-hero, walks up to UA and walks in. And walks to the hallway in front of her office. Because she was Recovery Girl. And Nezu looks at her and goes, oh, hey, Recovery Girl. And looks back down at the SA and then looks at her again and goes, what happened to you? You look so much better. And she walks over and she still has her cane in her hand and bops him in the head, saying, I had an encounter with apparently the number one villain. I got attacked by a villain. He's currently healing in the hospital with cuffs on him. But the number one villain apparently likes people and healed me. So now I look good. And she points to her her beautiful figure for being in a 50-year-old's body. And Nezu goes, yes, you do. Well, she's currently looking for someone, and she's probably at the dorms. Then they hear a giant boom from Training Ground Beta. And I was like, they're not at the dorms anymore. And he goes, most likely not. That was probably the hero Ground Zero. And everybody's like, Bakugo. Ugh. Nezu, still reading, hops on Aizawa's shoulders because he's been affected by her before, so he's increased his strength. He's in better condition. He doesn't have chronic dry eye. That was healed. So he fastens Nezu down with his scarf and he starts running off. Recovery Girl runs off with them, keeping up. And they get to Training Ground Beta. And they see half the training ground destroyed. And Bakugo being slapped around like a rag doll. slamming into buildings, being face slammed in the ground. His nose is bleeding. He's got a cut on his forehead. And she's just giddy and laughing the entire time. And he starts calling her the old names that he called her. And he let it slip. He said, "My demon," instead of "you demon." And she freezes and goes, "What?" And he's like, "Don't stop in the middle of a fight," and lands a punch square in her face with the power of the explosion behind it. So she gets sent flying to the wall of Training Ground Beta, slams into the wall, and gets up like nothing happened. And she goes, whoa, hold on. What did you say?" And he goes, "Nothing." And he's freaking out because he's just let it slip that he liked her. And Nezu and Aizawa are currently in the observation room, and only 2 cameras work now. One on the far wall that's currently looking down at the ground, and then the other that's looking up to the sky. And they're like, "What's going on?" Paralita runs in being like, "What was that explosion?" And they all point at the screen and go, "Bakugo." And he goes, "Oh, crap." And they go, "Don't go there yet. Don't go there yet. Listen to this." And they turn on the audio. And she's currently interrogating Bakugo, being like, "What did you say? I want to hear what you said." And he goes, "Nothing." And he's stuttering severely. And Parlor's like, "Who is that?" And Ned's just like, "The number 1 villain." And he just goes back to listening. And Parlor's like, wait, what? And Recover Girl goes, "Yeah, she's not a villain." And Parlor sees Recover Girl and goes, "Who are you?" And she goes, "I'm Recover Girl. I work in the infirmary." My cat Leo's currently playing with me. Oh yeah, this will probably come out tomorrow, which is Sunday. By the way, today, the day I'm recording this, and tomorrow, which is probably going to come out tomorrow morning before the live stream. There's a live stream. I'm trying to do it every Saturday and Sunday. I'm most likely going to have to do it later because there's a high probability that I'm going to have a job soon. Rolling dough. No, literally being a dough roller for a pizzeria. I'm gonna hate pizza after this. But yeah. So I'm probably going to be having a later schedule than normal. So everything that was supposed to be done in the morning is probably going to be done at night for me. So hopefully you guys don't hate me too much for that. Yeah, back to the story. So they're currently beating the crap out of each other, and she's just stopping him whenever he even gets close, being like, "Stop. I want to hear what you said again. I think I know what you said, but tell me the meaning of what you meant, my demon. Because I remember you calling me your demon before." And it's all crap. And this is all in his mind. I don't want to tell her. I And then someone runs over holding her ears, being like, what the hell is that explosion? And it's our favorite Cheshire cat, Hagakure. And she's wearing her skimpy outfit, her skimpy night outfit. And Izumi sees this and gets a nosebleed. Yes, she gets a anime nosebleed. And passes out. She falls face first onto the ground. And they know now that the only way to stop her from doing stuff is show her that picture. So Hagakure runs over being like, what was that? What were you doing, Bakugo? And who is this? And Bakugo goes, crap. And he just walks off, and Nezu walks into the training ground and be like, well, we know how to control her now. And so I was like, yeah, put her in my class. And Hagakure's like, what? And they go, oh, yeah, this is the #1 villain. And Hagakure's like, what? And Hagakure goes, wait, you mean the girl that heals instead of hurts? Well, hurts then heals. And everybody who's been attacked by her is 90% better. And, oh, hey, recovery girl. Wait, recovery girl? And she goes, yeah, I was just attacked by her today. And Hagakure goes, you look good. And she goes, thank you. And she starts flexing her muscles, being like, yeah, I'm back to my prime. So we go to the next day, and Izumi was taken to Hagakure's room. And Izumi wakes up and sees Hagakure laying on top of her. And Hagakure likes laying on things that are warm. And Izumi is extra warm because she doesn't feel heat. So her clothes make her extra warm. So I'm going to end it there. I like this one. I love having fun with these. If you guys want me to continue the series, please consider hitting that like button. If I get to, I know you guys have hit this before, 20 likes. That's a big goal for you guys. I know you guys can hit it. And if you guys don't, I'm going to be very sad. And I may stop the streaming series. Because I had plans of sending people to Skyrim, to Dark Souls, My Hero, Bleach, Naruto, sending people everywhere. Destiny. Oh crap, my Birkin stick I was swinging around. I had plans for the streaming series. If you guys don't hit that like button, I won't do this streaming series anymore. And I lost all inspiration for the voices, the Vamp Nico, Charged, and Mist. I'm sorry I lost all inspiration. I went to my cabin. I came back. I'm like, I'm out of it. A little bit of time to relax. I took too much time, on my opinion, to relax. I went to my grandparents this week. I helped them out. And now I'm back. Back to full glory of doing recordings. So hopefully you guys enjoy. I'll see you guys hopefully in the next video. Yeah. Bye.